Before we get started today, I want to take a moment and make sure you're following us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I post things and messages every week, and I don't want you to miss anything because I believe it'll make a huge difference in your life, relationships, and family. It has mine. If you didn't hear my Father Words message earlier this week, I want to encourage you and go back and listen to it first. It's the second part of the message we're going to talk about now, the unusual way to feel fulfilled. And here's the secret. I became fulfilled in my own life when I stopped trying to fill myself and let Jesus fill me. How many have made that mistake? You see, God's heart for us is to be holy. And it's not just about not doing bad stuff. Being holy is about being whole and complete. Or R.C. Sproul said, we become so fulfilled in what God has made us that we actually live a transcendently above life, all the stuff that's around the earth. In other words, we're never owned by our stuff, our things, our experiences on earth. We really get our identity from who God says we are, to where nothing owns us but Him Himself and His love. That's why God has rules to give us structure and direction and even safety in our life, not just to see if we're going to act bad or not. And as parents, we often get caught between the extreme of no structure, I want to be a friend to my kid, or too much structure where we just stifle them. Too little structure and our kids aren't safe, and too much structure and they believe that God will bless them if they follow the rules. So here's how you can explain to your kids this whole understanding of holiness. We get to be all that God has made us to be because of His love for us. See, His love opens a door to the structure and the life that He has for us. Anytime when there's structure without love, that's the way the Pharisees lived. In the Old Testament time, they wanted to prove their love for God because they were religious. That's the number one way to shut out safety, shut out peace, and shut out love when you think you can earn it. God's blessing comes because He chose us. It's a kind of like having the home court advantage, right? When you raise your family this way, did you ever know why there's a 50% chance of winning more home court games than when you're playing away in football or basketball or baseball? You know why that is? It's because when you're a home court team, you got thousands and thousands of messages of cheering you on to perform. Well, guess what? If you're a visiting team, you got thousands of messages saying, you're a bum, missed the free throw, you're a jerk. Hey, when you played in New York, the New York Jets, they were calling us jerks from the stands, and we didn't know in New York that's like a compliment. But in God's kingdom, He has made us to be word-activated people, and when we hear what He says about us, that gives us home court advantage. Matter of fact, when we do that with our kids, that gives us home court advantage too. Maybe you're a single mom or dad and you're following this and you got the problem of every time your kids go over to a different house, they learn a whole different set of rules. Well, here's the secret. If you live the way God wants you to live in your life, guess what happens? You're going to be a person of your word, because you're going to live by the rules you're asking your kids to live. I've found that maybe deadbeat dads or moms that aren't really walking with God, they might let their kids do everything. But the problem with that is their kids will see that their dad doesn't have that integrity, and even their mom doesn't. So your best protection, mom, is to live the life that God's called you for. Or if you're a single dad, to live that life. When they see you do it, it'll give them great hope because they see how God is speaking to you. So how do you apply this, mom and dad? So before you go enforcing more rules with your kids, I'm going to ask you to take a good look at the rules you have in place and why you have them there. If you want your kids to follow the rules, you need to have like a really good reason for them. And you got to really know the why. Explain to them when they're younger really helps. As they get older, it gets a little late to explain those things the same way. That's why you got to live them out of your own story. So why don't you host like a family meeting after a dinner tonight and discuss the rules of the house and why they are there. why it's not safe when we don't follow the rules, why it's helpful for you to even put those rules on the fridge so your kids know that this is the kind of way we do our family. That can be a powerful thing. You know, beloved, I'm doing these shows every week to help you not just survive, but thrive in your family. Because it takes work. It takes a full-time job for a mom and dad to raise healthy kids. But I know you can't get there by yourself, and there's no way that we can cover every kind of subject every week. And so one of the things that we've done this year is build a brand new series called The Blessing of the Father for Families. And it's a 6-week study that you and your wife and even your whole family can go through that really teach you how to receive the blessing of the Father for yourself, and then how do you give that away to your family. Whether you're married or you're single, this is a powerful thing for you and would love to share it with you. Click on the link below, not clink, and log into our website at theblessingofthefather.com and you can get it there. I would also love to hear from you. Would love for you to leave a comment or a question that you might have. Remember, the Father loves you and wants you to give you an amazing Father story, no matter how you started. God bless you.
I ain't good enough, but he still loves me.